you. I get my shirts and condoms over there. I'm Gnarly Charlie. Damn it, here comes Danny Minch, your host tonight. Can't see shit. I don't know where to go.
Well, let's give it up for Gnarly right there. That was something else. My dad died. Danny Minch, everybody.
There you go. Danny Minch killed him.
It's a little way to start a comedy show. I love that guy. He's been a good friend of mine for quite some time. Thank you guys for coming in very last and sitting right up front since it was the only table left. We appreciate that. I know what a lot of you are thinking, how'd they get the guy from Mythbusters come do comedy at DiCiccos? This girl's looking at me like, oh my God, how'd they get Paul Giamatti from Sideways? This girl's been drinking pretty heavy. Probably because she's Mexican, started in the parking lot. Oh shit, you all did. She's looking at me like, oh my goodness, how'd they get Brad Pitt to come do comedy at DiCiccos? I just bought a Prius. A Prius. Some of these are going to have to be translated for the Republicans. I just bought a Prius now. I don't buy gas. I just tell everybody my battery's dead. I ask for a jump. I go another 40 miles. I'm going on a tour of America with nothing but jumper cables. Me and my girlfriend have a Prius. It's before we met. See, it's a pre-us. Well, some of you guys aren't going to get this stuff till the ride home.
Yeah. Walk us through it.
You're going to catch up, I promise you. Have you seen this? Ford's just come out with a new Aerostar. It's got a painting of Starry, Starry Night down the side of it. When people see it, they go, hey, look at that van go. Oh, 5 art students in the audience. I appreciate you. It's really cool though. My Prius came with a GPS, but they're doing something new with it. They're voicing it with megastars. Mine's voiced by Bono of U2. Yeah, but it's really hard to use because the streets have no names. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Ended up running into a Joshua tree. It was a Sunday, bloody Sunday. Oh. I like you too though. I love the sign we have out in front of the restaurant. It's famous. It's on all the postcards. It says Clovis, Gateway to the Sierras. Have you seen that? Yes. And if you follow it all the way out, you end up in Tulare. That's mean to tourists here coming to Antique, I guess. Because then they go all the way there and they're like, wow, the Sierras look like crackheads. It's so true. I know it does not look like it, but I am Mexican. Where are my Mexicans at?
Right now.
Boy, that's a family reunion. I know a lot of you are looking at me like, no, you're not. And I'll tell you how that happened. I was married for 23 years. I went through a divorce after 23 years of marriage. I'm spending $2,600 a month in divorce settlements. That's where I learned it's cheaper to kill her. Absolutely. But she is the mother of my 3 beautiful children, so I can't let them find out it was me. But don't get jealous of what I'm about to say next. I lived in this little town in the Central Valley called Madera. And I had to move roommates into my house to save it, and I didn't know how my life was going to change when I moved Mexicans into my house. Do you guys know they spontaneously barbecue? They spontaneously barbecue. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I thought my house was on fire. I come running down the hall going, what's going on? They're like, we just bought tri-tip SA. What you think? They actually don't talk like that. They talk a lot like me. But if you see a guy dressed like this use the word SA without an accent, you're thinking thesis paper. These guys barbecue so much. I went to the bathroom the other day and over the potpourri candle was a grill. And a chicken wing sitting right on top. It's delicious. Then they said, Danny, now that we moved in, can we have a party? And I said, mi casa is su casa. Because that's the only thing I learned on Rosetta Stone. Well, I had to talk to the gardeners. And I said, sure. Thank you. See, what I didn't realize was, did you know every Mexican in the Central Valley is related? Yeah. Bringing their relatives over, all of a sudden my house was filled with Ninos and Tinos and Abuelitas and cousins and cousins and cousins. And there were DJs in every corner of my house. And somebody blew up a bounce house out front. I don't know where that came from. Mexicans are alcohol locals. I spent $500 on adult beverages. It was like, off to the next family barbecue. But there was this one relative there, and you remember him. You were at the party. I remember seeing you. Yeah, your cousin, little Tito. I'll give him this much. He wore his best pressed wife beater to the occasion. And he had tattoos of spider webs going up his arms, and he had a teardrop in the corner of his eye, which turned out to be a really bad thing. And the rest of the family's holding back. And this is how I became a Mexican. The rest of the family's holding back. He walked up to me and went, "Yo, güero." Which is cool. It's what the whole family calls me. It's a pet name. He said, "Hey, güero, let me tell you something, I don't like white people. But my abuelitas tell me you take good care of my Tito. So from here on out, I consider you a Mexican."
Yeah.
You are now adopted into the family. And I was like, that's awesome. But side note to that, now that I am, you can catch me doing a car wash every other weekend for a dead relative.
Yeah.
And like Charlie, now I'm a Raider fan. But they introduced me to something else, and for the very white people in the audience, I'm going to do some translation now that I am Mexican. I can do that. They brought me to the Mexican Mall. Have you ever been to the Mexican Mall? If you went there, you would call it the flea market. They call it the ramate. This is where they get everything. Their DVDs, their CDs, their livestock, their produce, their medical, and their dental. But they introduced me to something that I could never repay them for. It was served by a maestro on a bicycle with a square box on the front. And it was called elotes. I'll do some more translation for you. Elotes is corn. But not the way Mexicans fix it. Mexicans are the only people that can take a 35-calorie ear of corn and turn it into a 15,000-calorie dinner. They dip it in butter. They put goat cheese on it. They put this red pepper pico de gallo. I didn't even know what that was. I thought that's how a Mexican woman picked her husband. I pico de gallo. I like it, Daddy. I pico de gallo. Then check this out. They smear it all in mayonnaise. Yeah. It sounds gross. But I promise you, this is the best freaking corn you will ever eat. I used to say corn was my digestive friend. You don't buy corn, you just rent it. Oh, there it is again. Now it just sits in my stomach like a brick. You guys, I don't know if you had the same kind of pandemic I had. I lost a lot of friends to COVID-19.
Yeah.
On Facebook. Watch what you're posting, you idiots. It didn't affect me as much. I know a lot of people died during COVID, unless you don't believe in science. Oh wait, this is Clovis. You guys don't believe in science. But it didn't affect me as much. I'll tell you why, because I drive an electric car, so I didn't have to stock up on gas. I'm a vegetarian. Surprised it took me that long to tell you. More meat for you, sir. So I didn't have to stock up on meat. I'm gluten intolerant, so I can't eat bread, so I didn't have to stock up on that. I have a bidet, so I didn't have to worry about this scare on toilet paper that you guys all freaked out about. And I have a gym in my garage, so I didn't have to worry about the gyms closing. There's no joke here. I just want to let you guys know I'm way better than you. That's it. I had some mixed messages at the beginning of the pandemic. Fauci came out and said if you're going to be exercising and you're socially distanced from people, you don't have to wear a mask. So I went out jogging one day, sure enough, not wearing a mask, staying far enough away from everybody, being courteous. This guy pulls around the corner in his car, sure enough, rolls his window down and goes, "Hey, idiot, put on a mask." And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm doing what Fauci told me. I'm staying socially distanced." And he's like, "Oh, I don't care about COVID. You're freaking ugly." A lot of you agree. I was like, "Thanks, Dad. Good seeing you again. I'll zoom you later." Check this out. My girl, essential worker, had to go back to work. Me, I'm a comedian. I got to stay at home, make more money than I've ever made doing comedy by staying at home and having you guys pay my bill. Oh, that hit hard. But she had to go back to work, and there was only 2 people where she worked. Crazy, right? It was her and another guy. Guess what started happening? First day kind of like rubbed up against her. She's like, there's nobody else in here. What are you doing? And he just walked off. The next day, started massaging her shoulders. And she's like, hey, I'm trying to be nice about it, but she's like, I'm trying to get some work done. Could you just leave me alone? Next day, the guy just walked up, looked her right in the eyes, and was like, let's go in the bathroom and just make out like crazy. Yeah, gross, right? It's disgusting. So I get a call from her HR the next day going, hey, Danny, Jen's working from home. Leave her alone. I decided to solve some of America's problems. You guys, while I had all this time on my hand, I was not going to shows. I decided to solve America's problems. One that I'm going to solve before I get off the stage for you guys. You remember when they were tearing down the Confederate statues and there was the riots in front of it? One side wanted it to stay up, the other side was tearing it down, and I decided I was going to solve that problem. This is how I did it. How many people have seen Tu Wong Fu Thank You Julie Newmar? Nobody has seen it, I have, so it's not nobody. And one person in the back banging on the table. It's Patrick Swayze.
Oh, yeah.
Wesley Snipes, they're drag queens that get stuck, and they look beautiful, by the way. They're drag queens that get stuck in middle America. That's not the important part. The important part is at the beginning of it, RuPaul comes out in a beautiful sequin dress of the Confederate flag. It's gorgeous, it's outstanding. And I say every time we tear one of those statues down, we put up RuPaul in that Confederate flag as a statue. Because one side will be like, we gotta tear that down. That's one of them transgender. But wait a minute, she's wearing our symbol. We love that symbol. We gotta leave it up. And then the other side's gonna be like, oh my goodness, we have to tear that down. That's the Confederate flag. It's a symbol of hate. Oh wait, that's RuPaul. She represents everything we love. We can't tear that down. Then they all come together in front of the statue and have a civil discourse because they're off of freaking Facebook. And I've solved America's problems, guys. You're welcome. Just that simple. Thank you. I also wanted to solve the police brutality problem. You guys remember that? You ready for this? During that whole thing, I got something in my life that I am going to talk about a little bit. Is I got a bidet. And how many people here have a bidet? These 2 up front. The rest of you all have poop in your butt right now. It's just the way it works. You just wiped it further up the back of yourself. Even Mike here, who's serving your food. It's not his fault. He doesn't have a bidet. But during all this time when people were protesting the police brutality, there was one phrase that came out. And this is the phrase. You guys remember hearing this? Defund the police. Defund the police. Did you guys hear that? I'm going to take the offensive stance. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say fund the police. Well, that's how you find a Republican lost in the woods, by the way. Fund the police. And here's how, not with guns, not with tanks, not with military weaponry. I say we give them all bidets. Because it made me feel lighter and happier when I had mine. So we get every police department and install bidets and even send them home with them. Because maybe they're not mad at any certain group. Maybe they're just really itchy. 2 problems solved. You're welcome. Bravo. Thank you, sir. I don't want laughter. I want people to say bravo.
Oh, Bucanas?
You guys, I'm having I did mention that I was gluten intolerant. And that's not something I choose to do. It's something I have to do because I get sick whenever I eat gluten. I'm one of the 2% in America that has that. But I still like eating stuff. Sometimes I know I'm going to get sick. I'm just going to eat something I like. Because one thing that they have not made good yet is donuts. And I love donuts. So I'll eat one because I'm a gluten for punishment. But my buddy gave me some of those donuts have you seen those little donuts from Hostess, the little donuts? And I was like, thank you, because I use a donut to capture other donuts when I go hunting. But it's gonna keep that up. It's gonna keep going. So I went out hunting wild donuts, and I came across a village of them. And they had dug a hole, and I fell in it. They caught me in a donut hole. They started sprinkling me, and my eyes got all glazed, but I had some bear claws, so I climbed out. And I had to eat my way out of the village, and there were dozens of them. I finally made it out, and I celebrated at a maple bar. Those donuts can be crueler. I'm sorry, that's an old-fashioned joke. I don't know what that was, but I didn't expect it to come from a white woman. Yeah. So it needs to shit. Guys, we've got a crazy good show for you. Matter of fact, one of my Mexican roommates is here today.
Hell yeah.
And he is opening the show up for us.